Today's a WRAL weather alert day. We continue to see rain across our area. In some places, it's really starting to add up in the rain gauges. I'll show you how much we've seen in the last 6 hours.
Plus, another day of wet roads. We are giving you a look in the WRAL storm tracker as our team is monitoring your morning commute.
It was deep. It was over my head, and I never got to her. Once she went under, I never saw her again.
Dead in floodwaters. Hear from investigators about the 2 people swept away and the officer who tried to save them. And more rain is on the way, although it won't be as intense as we saw yesterday. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood. The chance for flooding is a possibility today. That is why we have a WRAL weather alert day issued. We have live team coverage from across the area, but we want to begin with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner.
We just continue to see more rain. In some places, it's really starting to add up in the rain gauges this morning over the last 6 hours. So possible flooding. We do have a low risk for flooding that was already in place, but we just continue to see rain redeveloping this morning in the same place, especially where people are out on the road. So Ken's going to talk about how that's affecting your morning commute. We're going to continue to see at least a chance of rain all the way through the evening before we start to change up our pattern over the weekend. Here's a look at dual Doppler 5000 radar. When you take a look at it, it doesn't look like there's a lot of heavy rain out there, but it's just the persistence of it. It just continues to develop in the same place. So we're seeing some scattered showers across Wake County, Durham County, Orange County in particular, and then, of most concern, southwest of Nashville, where we saw so much heavy rain yesterday. There's been some pretty steady rain there over the last few hours. In the last 6 hours, we've seen 1.3 inches in Durham, in Chapel Hill, almost 2 inches. And so we are really starting to see some of these numbers add up. In some places, it's just 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. But if it continues, which it looks like it is, those numbers will continue to climb, and we could get into some issues with some minor flooding. Look at this. I mean, it's coming down right here in downtown Raleigh. Expect a 40 to 50% chance as we get through the afternoon. Coming up, we're going to talk more about some of our potential through later today. Ken?
Well, Elizabeth, with the rain continue to fall this morning, we've dispatched the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads this morning. Monica Casey, photographer Mark Alexic have been hopped back in the car. You're making your way around the triangle and surrounding communities. What are you seeing right now, Monica?
Hey, Ken, good morning. We are actually just about to turn on to 64 right now. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see we're waiting at this stoplight, but you can see some of the precipitation here just on the windshield. And this is pretty standard for what we have been seeing all morning. We were down in Apex at one of those roads that is flooded out, washed out. But, earlier this morning I drove over from Durham. We drove down from Raleigh. So we've been on the roads kind of all over. And one thing that we're seeing in a lot of these roads, there is enough rain on the road already. You're getting some of that spray from the car in front of you that's affecting visibility a little bit. You might have to kick up your windshield wipers one more notch if you're on a road that has a little more traffic because of that. And you're also definitely going to want to give the car in front of you some extra space, maybe going a little slower than you usually do this morning if you're out on these roads. Ken, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Monica, traffic has definitely picked up on some of our major routes, including some accidents as well. This one at I-40 near the 440 interchange in Southeast Raleigh, causing some huge delays, stretching all the way back past Jones Sausage Road. You can see it right here, right up to the top of your screen. You can see the flashing lights and the bumper-to-bumper traffic this morning. So if you're coming in from Clayton, you're coming in from Garner, an alternate route is definitely in order, because right now you're looking at a 19-minute delay if you're coming in from all points west coming into I-40. Also, our friends in Nightdale, you're looking at an 18-minute delay because of the slowdown that we're seeing there on I-87. And our friends in Wake Forest on US 1 Capitol Boulevard, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. Now, we know that there's an issue with this crash right here on I-885, right near the Highway 70 interchange, and that's causing a huge backup this morning on I-885 in both directions. If you're going into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 17-minute delay. If you're using I-885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at a 7-minute delay. As far as other major routes into the Bull City, nothing really that's going to make you late, 6-7 minutes, give or take. So this crash we want to tell you about here in I-40 westbound near Gorman Street, adding to the congestion that we usually see this time of the morning on that southern loop of the Beltline. You're getting ready to head into the car because of the rain, the change in conditions. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Definitely do that given the conditions of the roads some places. 2 people are dead after getting swept up in floodwaters, and that happened yesterday afternoon in Spring Hope on Highway 581. WRAL's Ali Kadlabar is live in Nash County. And Ali, we know those 2 people spent their last moments clinging to that vehicle, but they just didn't make it.
Yes, clinging to that vehicle less than 24 hours ago, right here in this ravine. It was overflowed with water. And now these flowers, these bouquets of flowers, remain in memory of Lottie Alston and Raymond Evans, who goes by Pete. This video shows that ravine flooding with water. You can see it rushing as well. Nash County Sheriff says floodwaters pushed their car about 30 feet into that ravine. The 2 spent their last moments clinging to that vehicle, and Spring Hope officer Lieutenant Jason Leary risked his life trying to save them.
She had an arm out of the water. I tried to grab her. And then when she submerged, I went under as well trying to reach for her. But there was so much debris, so much fallen trees, bushes, things floating. There was a tree that was completely underwater, horizontal, that you couldn't see, that I got tied up in and got over it. Honestly, I wasn't thinking about anything, just trying to make a difference.
Just devastating, and you can actually see why there was so much debris, just this ravine right here behind me. But the Nash County Sheriff's Office says this is a somber reminder of how important it is to turn around if you see floodwaters in the roadway. Reporting in Nash County, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Now, this animation you see behind me, it shows what can happen if you do try to drive through a flooded road. Now, once your tires lose contact with the road, I mean, you really have no control there. And that only takes a few inches. So be aware of how much water is on the roads. Parts of Wake County are dealing with extensive damage after last night's flooding. Look at this right here, this video, so you can just see a closer look at that sinkhole on Olive Chapel Road in Apex. The creek running underneath that road flooded, and the street collapsed under the weight of the water. People living nearby told WRAL they are concerned that the road closure will create a traffic nightmare in that area.
Live right there in our subdivision is going to be the go through. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be, this is a very high traffic area. You've got Olive Chapel, obviously up here, all 55 and all the main streets down there. It kind of connects to, we ride our scooters through here all the time. It's a very high traffic area. This is not good.
According to NCDOT, the street may be closed until November for the necessary repairs to be made. Crabtree Boulevard in Raleigh reopened. It was closed because a tree limb fell on it between Raleigh Boulevard and Turner Drive. This is what it looked like when we arrived around 3 o'clock this morning. Teams from Raleigh Parks and Recreation worked to clean up and remove that tree. The Carolina Mudcats shared this video of a flooded dugout during Wednesday's heavy rain. And this is at 5 County Stadium in Zebulon. The Mudcats game against the Lynchburg Hillcats was postponed, and that's because of the weather conditions. And you can see right here, this car right here on your screen, it went into a creek along Wade Avenue in Raleigh. This was near the intersection with Fillmore Street. It was one of many crashes that happened during the storm. And folks, this is why it is so important to keep up with weather 24/7. And you can do that with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. That interactive radar, it lets you look at what's in store for your location, so you know what's going on. Tonight, family and friends of the 10-year-old who died in a boat crash on Harris Lake, they'll say goodbye. A visitation for Brooklyn Carroll will happen from 6 to 8 p.m. at Apex Funeral Home. Carroll died Saturday when a boat driven by a suspected drunk boater hit her. The community has shown an outpouring of support after her death. In fact, a GoFundMe page for her family has raised $64,000. Brooklyn's funeral is planned for tomorrow. Parents, the State Board of Education will plan to vote on something that's expected to make the state's schools the best in the nation for your children. Superintendent Mo Green proposed that plan. It calls for improving curriculum, teacher training, and student services such as healthcare. Green also wants to establish foundations and endowments to provide services and even free college classes. Members of NC State's 1983 Cardiac PAC team, they will not be able to collect money from the NCAA. And this was over the continued use of the former players' highlights. A North Carolina judge dismissed their lawsuit yesterday, and that's according to a lawyer for the players. 10 members of the team argued the NCAA should not be able to use their name, their images, their likeness to promote the tournament, not without paying them. Judges have tossed out similar lawsuits, though. A new stopgap budget for the state is now law. Governor Josh Stein signed that spending plan yesterday and voiced his reservations along with it. In a statement, he said, quote, "This Band-Aid budget fails to invest in our teachers and students. It fails to keep families safe, fails to value hardworking state employees, and fails to fully fund health care." He also said, quote, "The General Assembly needs to get serious about investing in the people who make this state great." Now, that budget could mean cuts to Medicaid and other safety net services. Stein said he signed the bill because it keeps the state's lights on and it includes important funding for schools. But Republican budget writers also cut the Medicaid operating budget by 25%. A spokesperson for House Speaker Destin Hall said state lawmakers will revisit that issue later this year. This morning, UNC Health employees will collect school supplies for local students. It's part of their Stuff the Bus event. What you're seeing here is video from a previous year. Employees plan to fill an entire school bus with supplies outside UNC Health Rex in Raleigh, and that starts at 10 o'clock this morning. Time's 8:11. 1 month later, no change. How long people in Person County will have to wait to see dozens of roads repaired from Chantal damage? Plus, fired. The North Carolina Courage terminated their head coach in the middle of the season. What we plan to ask the chief soccer officer during the team's press conference today.
And it just keeps on raining. So we do have a WRAL weather alert day for more rain today. We'll talk about what some of the totals could look like coming up.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
8:14, we continue to have rain falling, especially right around the Triangle area. It may look fairly patchy here on Dual Doppler 5000 radar. It's not the intensity, it's just the duration. We've seen rain here falling now for hours and hours, and eventually we may end up in some pockets where we saw some very heavy rain yesterday, begin to start to see a little bit of flooding again. This is a look at our rainfall totals just in the last 6 hours. We've already seen 1.5 inches in Durham. That's a good bit. And a lot of places, it's just been maybe 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch, like North Raleigh at 1/2 inch, but a couple other spots that are more concerning at almost 2 inches there in Chapel Hill. We take a look here across downtown Raleigh, and it's coming down. It's, if anything, just inconvenient and messy out there this morning. Expect a 40% chance. We'll talk more about when we could break up this pattern coming up. Ken?
Elizabeth, that messy morning commute has first responders rather busy this morning, especially here in Southeast Raleigh near this I-40, I-440 interchange. There's a crash causing quite a bit of delays stretching all the way past Jones Sausage Road. You can see what I'm talking about, the bumper-to-bumper traffic westbound lane. Right up here, you can see the flashing lights this morning. So if you're coming in from Garner, you're coming in from Clayton, you're coming from anywhere in that area, I would recommend using Highway 70 as an alternate route, even Garner Road, because right now you're looking at a 12-minute delay. If you're coming in from I-87 in Knightdale, that things are getting better, just a 6-minute delay. That was in double digits a little while ago. Our friends in Wake Forest coming in on Capitol Boulevard, US 1, you're looking at an 8-minute delay.
Starting today, federal law enforcement will step up security in the nation's capital. According to sources, the planned increase is scheduled for today and tomorrow. It'll include officers from ICE, the FBI, National Guard, and local DHS agents. Local federal agents in D.C. have been told to be ready to deploy. The White House says this is all part of President Donald Trump's executive order to address crime in the city. The man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in D.C. is facing federal hate crime charges. Elias Rodriguez is charged with 9 counts, including a hate crime resulting in death. The indictment also includes notice of special findings that would allow the DOJ to pursue the death penalty. Rodriguez is accused of shooting the staffers as they left an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum in May. He's also charged with murder of foreign officials and other crimes. The VA stripped several government unions of their most important power, collective bargaining. The Department of Veterans Affairs notified 5 major unions their contracts were terminated yesterday, and this is in response to an executive order from President Donald Trump that he signed in March. That measure used national security as justification to cut the collective bargaining rights of many federal workers. Apple is set to invest another $100 billion to expand its operations in America. And this is in addition to a previous $500 billion Apple already committed to grow its domestic footprint. The Trump administration has made a push for Apple and other tech companies to produce more of their products right here in the U.S. As Republicans push to redistrict congressional maps in Texas, Democrats are planning to do the same in California. California Representative Zoe Lofgren says that she has seen a conceptual map, and she claims it could flip 5 of the 9 Republican seats in her state. Governor Gavin Newsom asked lawmakers to draw a new map to put before voters in a November special election, and he has said that will only happen if Texas goes through with its redistricting. People in Person County are facing months of construction and delays after the flooding from Chantal. The storm last month washed away 9 roads in the county, and one of them has been fixed. The rest will be repaired over the coming months, and work in some places could last through November. That's a bit inconvenient for people who live and work nearby.
If I want to go anywhere, I have to take those detours because right now it's one way in, one way out.
26 roads statewide are still damaged or washed out because of Chantal. This week, Governor Josh Stein declared the storm a Type 1 state disaster. Gotta show you this, Hawaii's Kilauea volcano. It's erupting. Do you see this right here? It's intense. The eruption started early yesterday morning, and up to 300-foot-high fountains of lava spewed from the volcano's crater. This is the volcano's 30th eruption this year. So powerful to see. All right, it is a WRAL weather alert day. We didn't begin the day that way. We turned into that as the day progressed. And the reason for that, Elizabeth, we're seeing that increased chance of flooding.
We are. We've had a level 1 risk or a low risk for flooding all day, but it looked like the rain was going to taper off. The computer models showed the rain, ending as we got through the morning, but it really hasn't. So we just have this pesky band of rain that continues to redevelop. So expect to see that possibly up to 2 more inches. As a matter of fact, in Chapel Hill, we've already seen almost 2 inches in the last 6 hours. So some of this a little concerning based on the amount of rain that we saw yesterday. So this does cover all of central North Carolina all the way through the evening. We take a look at Dual Doppler 5000 radar, and we are seeing rain just redeveloping in the same spots over and over. Watching a couple of places in particular, the southwest corner of Nash County, where we saw 7 inches of rain yesterday. We saw some heavier rain there, so watching that. And then Durham and Chapel Hill both have seen some more significant rain. We had some heavier rainfall there earlier this morning, so 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches across parts of Durham and Chapel Hill. And yesterday they saw a good 2.5 to 3 inches there. So just some spots that we're, especially keeping our eye out for. But that flood risk does cover the entire viewing area. And of course, it's the level 1 risk. Yesterday we were under that level 2 risk for flooding. It was that medium risk. So we'll see how things go today. This is a look at some of the rainfall totals that we saw yesterday. Cary at 8.5 inches, Apex at about 6.25. North Raleigh over 4.5 inches, Zebulon about 4.5 inches, and RDU about 3 inches, Carter Finley over 5 inches. So we had some pockets of very heavy rain, especially in western Wake County and then across parts of Nash County. We had some of those down to the south as well. Some heavy rain southeast of Goldsboro and south of Clinton at 4 to 4.5 inches. So it was a lot of rain in pockets yesterday. I expect a 40 to 50% chance of rain for today. A lot of it's just been right around the triangle area so far, but it could be for any part of the viewing area, certainly. Looking at a 50% chance today. That chance goes down for tomorrow. Saturday and Sunday, we should transition out of this cool, wet pattern. So it should be a pretty good weekend to get outside. We may see a few isolated storms, but right now it's only a 20% chance. We should see some sunshine, but the temperatures do begin to heat up. The tropics have been heating up, but nothing really coming our way to cause any problems. One cell coming off the coast of Africa, just a 60% chance of developing. Doesn't look like it would affect the United States. And then the system that we were watching potentially off the coast of North Carolina continues to pull away and not develop. So I think we're in the clear there too. Today is a WRAL weather alert day. It'll be cool and wet for much of the day. And then again, like I said, warmer for the weekend, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. First responders have been very busy, especially here on this crash on I-40, I-440 interchange there at southeast Raleigh. It's causing delays all the way stretching back toward Jones Sausage Road. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic, and way up here near the interchange, you can see the flashing lights is still working that scene. So if you're coming in from Clayton, you're coming in from Garner, you're looking at a 14-minute delay. You might want to use Highway 70 as an alternate route. For friends in Wake Forest, you're looking at a 10-minute delay coming into the capital city this morning. And things are definitely getting better on I-87. You saw there, you're looking like a 4 to 6 minute delay. Just a little while ago, that was up to like a double-digit lead. So now it's coming down, and things are definitely open. opening up. We did see a little bit of a slowdown on 885. Things are definitely getting better there. You're probably looking at a 3 to 5 minute delay, depending on where you're coming from this morning. At one point going into Durham this morning on 885, you're looking at a 5 minute delay. If you're using 885 to come down to I-40, you see a little bit of a slowdown right there as you get close to the interchange, but things are definitely getting better. It's not going to be a situation where you have to take an alternate route. As for other major routes coming into the Bowl City, here's what we're looking at. You're looking at a 6 minute delay if you're coming in from I-40 eastbound. 885, you're looking at a 5 minute delay. At one point, that was an alternate route for a situation that was happening on 885. But elsewhere, that Wade Avenue, you're looking at a 5 minute delay. We always appreciate you listening to us on the radio on 101.5 HD3. If you're getting ready to head into the car, tune us in on the radio. We'll keep you updated.
Back to school hacks. School supply lists are longer than ever, which is why we're going to share shortcuts to the best deals. And suing American Airlines, another family is coming forward about a flight attendant who was sentenced for recording a girl in a plane bathroom. What they say happened during their flight.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Time is 8:26. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Chris Lovingood. We do want to get you started on your WRAL Weather Alert Day with that flood risk, Elizabeth.
We continue to have rain falling across parts of the Triangle area. Expect more of that, maybe up to an additional 2 inches in some places. So that's going to lead us to the potential for some flooding really anywhere across the viewing area now through this evening. We'll take a look at the radar and you can see where that rain is right now, mainly around the Triangle, as far east as Nash and Wilson County, and then back over toward the Triad. But it's mainly centered around the Triangle. Durham and Chapel Hill have seen as much as 1.5 inches to 2 inches this morning, and we'll continue to watch those areas, especially the places where we had heavy rain yesterday. It's coming down in Apex, and even if you're not seeing flooding, it is making for a real messy commute this morning. We'll have a 40% chance through the rest of the day, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, at 8:27, I want to get right back out to that situation in Southeast Raleigh, I-40, I-440 interchange. And here's what we're looking at. Bumper-to-bumper traffic really going all the way back to Jones Sausage Road. You see right up here, you can see the flashing lights. First responders still continuing to work that scene. So if you're coming in from Garner, you're coming in from Clayton this morning, I would highly recommend using Highway 7 or even Garner Road as alternate routes.
Back up there. Thank you, Ken. Parts of Wake County are dealing with extensive damage from last night's flooding. What you're seeing right here is a sinkhole on Olive Chapel Road in Apex. According to NCDOT, the street may be closed until November for the necessary repairs to be made. Next on Fox 50, saving on school supplies. Ahead, the best places to go for inexpensive back-to-school gear.
Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. It is a messy commute out there this morning with showers. I'll show you what our flood threat is for today coming up.
And with those rainy conditions, Elizabeth, we have the WRAL breaking news tracker on the road this morning. They're on Highway 64 coming back into the capital city. We'll check in with Ali Calabar coming up shortly.
Flooding tragedy. 2 people are dead after being swept away in floodwaters in Nash County. The rescue attempt one officer made to save their lives. We're still following what happened yesterday in terms of that storm, but also today for this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood. Now, the day didn't start off as a Weather Alert Day, but Elizabeth, it kind of progressed as the morning began. We'll also talk a little bit about how traffic has kind of shifted as well because of all this rain.
So we started off with some light patchy rain out there, but it looked like it would probably dissipate as we got through the morning commute. But it's been a fairly pesky area, low pressure system sitting just above us, just continuing to bring us this rain. And so it continues to fall. We've seen in some places 1/2 inch and others almost 2 inches. And with all the rain that we saw yesterday, it's becoming a little bit of a concern. If it hadn't rained in days, this would just be an inconvenient sort of situation. situation. But we've had some heavier rain here in southwest Nash County, where we saw as much as 7 inches yesterday and as much as 3 inches around Durham and Chapel Hill. And we've added almost 2 inches there in some places. So have our eye on it. We have no flood advisories, no flood warnings right now. Right now, it's just messy out there. We're seeing a 40% chance of rain through the day, and it's a level 1 risk for flooding. Yesterday, it was a medium risk for flooding, 1 step up. In Durham, we continue to have scattered showers falling. It is 68 degrees. So it's on the cool side out there with cloudy skies, and it'll stay cool all day with temperatures in the mid-70s. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at how much rain we saw yesterday and what we've seen so far this morning on top of it, Ken.
At 8:31, Elizabeth, we want to get right to the WRAL storm tracker. Monica Casey, photographer Mark Alexic, and Donald C. Court and Quincy Court. So tell us why you're there and what you've been seeing this morning on the roads.
Yeah, Ken, we got a report of a tree down. So we came to this neighborhood and Carrie, and let me spin the camera around here so you can see what we're seeing. So this is Donaldson Drive here in front of me, and you can see the size of this tree. It's certainly pretty large. Now, it fell into the road here, but the road as a whole is not completely blocked. We have a second camera here on the storm tracker. Let me flip you over to that one. So you can see, you can still get around this tree a little bit, that car going right by just now. So this neighborhood road is partially blocked by this tree. And it's a good thing it fell this direction rather than on any of the townhomes in this area. Those crews, you might be able to hear the buzz saws. They're already taking it apart to try to get it out of the way. Another crew just showing up here. You can see that other tree blocking us just a little bit, but you know, so some small impacts here in this area. But luckily, does not seem to be any damage to any homes, and it does not seem as though anyone is hurt here by this falling tree right now. Ken, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Monica Casey reporting there in Cary. We're going to get you to this situation in Southeast Raleigh, I-440, I-40 interchange because of that crash, causing a huge delay on those westbound lanes. But things are definitely getting better. The westbound lanes right now are coming toward us. They turned the camera around for us, but you can see the traffic is beginning to move just a little bit. But if you're in a rush this morning and you're coming from Clayton or Garner, you might want to use Highway 70 as an alternate route because things are definitely getting better. Just a 6-minute delay. That was up to 2 digits a little while ago. And if you're coming in from Wake Forest and US 1, Capitol Boulevard, you're looking at a 10-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
And this is absolutely the day to listen to us if you're out in your commute. Thank you, Ken. Yesterday's rain washed out and flooded many roads in Apex and across Wake County. Olive Chapel Road in Apex is closed because of this. You saw here the sinkhole that opened beneath the street when the creek running under the flooded road. Now, the NCDOT tells us that this road will be closed until November, and on Stone Ender Way in Holly Springs, the road was so flooded you couldn't get through. You can see the road lines disappear as the floodwater gets deeper. And we spoke to Apex Mayor Jacques Gilbert on Richardson Road, and yesterday's downpour, frankly, it left him stunned.
When I saw it, I was like, this is really high. I mean, I did receive reports that Richardson Road had a lot of water, but to see it like this is pretty concerning.
Now, according to him, there were no reported injuries from yesterday's severe weather in that area. Right now, crews are assessing the damage and evaluating where to go from here. Just a reminder, folks, you can stay on top of the forecast with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download, but make sure you turn on the push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your phone. Tragedy in Nash County during flash flooding. A woman and a man are dead because their car was swept off a road into a ravine. They then went into rushing water. And WRAL's Ali Kabdabar is in Spring Hope this morning, where a police officer went into the water to try to save those people.
Yes, less than 24 hours ago, this road and ravine was covered with water. And now these flowers remain in memory of 24-year-old Lonnie Alston and 55-year-old Raymond Evans, who goes by Pete. This is video of water rushing in the ravine where Alston and Evans were swept away. The Nash County Sheriff says floodwaters pushed their car about 30 feet into that ravine. The two spent their last moments clinging to that vehicle. Spring Hope officer Lieutenant Jason Leary risked his life trying to save them.
I thought that I could make a difference, so I ran and dove in, tried to grab her. The water was moving extremely fast. It was deep, it was over my head, and I never got to her. once she went under, I never saw her again.
Just devastating moments there. The Nash County Sheriff's Office says this is a somber reminder of how powerful those floodwaters can be, and to remember to turn around if you see a flooded roadway. Reporting in Nash County, Ali Kadabar, WRAL News.
Tonight, family and friends of the 10-year-old who died in a boat crash on Harris Lake will gather to say goodbye. A visitation for Brooklyn Carroll will happen from 6 to 8 p.m. at Apex Funeral Home. Carroll died Saturday when a boat driven by a suspected drunk boater hit her. The community has shown an outpouring of support after her death. In fact, a GoFundMe page for her family has raised $64,000. Brooklyn's funeral is planned for tomorrow. And new court documents are giving a better idea of what officers found when they responded to that crash. A warrant says Quentin Kite admitted he was driving the boat at the time. An officer is quoted as saying, quote, "As I got near Kite, I noticed he had red and glassy eyes. His speech was hard to understand, also smelt strong odor of alcohol. When asked, Kite said that he had consumed 2 seltzer alcoholic beverages. I noticed there were lots of empty alcohol cans inside the boat," end quote. The documents show investigators seized 39 empty hard seltzer cans, and other evidence collected from the scene included a life jacket they believe Brooklyn Carroll was wearing. At least 10 people were on the boat that hit Brooklyn, as well as Jennifer Staley. And we learned that during the first court appearance for the owner of the boat, Anne Marie Flanagan. Her defense attorney said Flanagan is a former combat nurse who jumped in to help the victims after the crash. The Carroll family also shared new pictures with us, and that includes one photo from last week when Brooklyn and her dad were on a hike together. This morning, we have learned that troops tackled the Army sergeant in custody for a shooting at the Fort Stewart military base in Georgia. A lockdown was triggered yesterday because of this, and base officials say that Cornelius Radford used his personal handgun to shoot 5 fellow officers. 3 of the soldiers had to have surgeries, but none of them were killed. All 5 are expected to make full recoveries. But the motive behind that shooting, that's still being investigated. New this morning, President Donald Trump's new wave of tariffs on dozens of trading partners is now in place. At midnight, the president said on Truth Social, billions of dollars in tariffs are now flowing into the United States of America. Before the midnight deadline, virtually every country's goods were actually subjected to a minimum of a 10% tariff. Now, those tariffs kind of vary substantially from country to country. The new policy follows months of trade negotiations. The president said his advisors say that tariffs have raised more than $100 billion in tax revenue. Some economists fear that could lead to higher inflation and slower job growth. Today, we'll hear from the North Carolina Courage's chief soccer officer as the team is looking for a new coach. The team announced last night it fired Sean Nahas from the job. Nahas was the team's head coach since 2021, but the team didn't give a reason for why he was fired. Their next game is tomorrow night in Houston, and the chief soccer officer is set to speak with the press at 11 o'clock this morning. And so we plan to ask, why was Nahas fired? Was it performance related? And how the team came to that conclusion. Today, Cumberland County Schools is holding a ceremony to honor their summer 2025 graduates. Around 60 students from high schools across the county will be dressed in caps and gowns to receive their diploma. That's happening in the auditorium at Jack Britt High School in Fayetteville, and that will start at 10 a.m. Time is 8:39. Shopping school supplies. Back-to-school lists are getting longer and more expensive, which is why 5 Year Inside's Keely Arthur will show where you can find the cheapest options. Plus, airplane bathroom recordings. The contents of a flight attendant's iCloud account revealed as part of a new lawsuit. And within the past hour or so, our team of meteorologists issued a WRAL weather alert day as we're giving you a live look through the WRAL breaking news tracker and the WRAL storm tracker. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will show us the areas at risk for possible flooding today.
8:43 on this WRAL weather alert day. It is a messy day out there, especially right around the triangle. We continue to see rain coming down. We could see in some places up to around 2 inches of rain, possibly even more than that in some pockets. You know, it was awfully heavy yesterday. It's likely to be anywhere across our viewing area all the way through this evening. We take a look at Dual Doppler 5000 radar. Most of the rain this morning has really been concentrated around the triangle, but as far east at some point as Edgecombe County, and it stretches all the way back to the Triad. So just just watching that rainfall, especially in places where it was so wet yesterday. Some steady rain here on 540 around Apex and Cary right now, and some of that around Durham and Chapel Hill as well. Here's a look at Apex, and you can see it is wet. It is messy out there. It wouldn't be as concerning except for the fact that we saw so much rain yesterday. So 40% chance as we go through the day today. We're going to talk about what some of those totals could be coming up. Ken?
All right, the WRAL Traffic Center. We do have Ali Cadlebar and Michael Joyner in the WRAL breaking news tracker. Right now, then, I-87 coming in from Nidell. They were in Nash County, but you can see the windshield wipers are still going. They're in Wendell coming in on I-87. They were in Nash County, but now you can see the windshield wipers are still going, that intermittent rain that Elizabeth has been talking about. So give yourself some extra time this morning as we take a look at the major routes coming into the capital city. Really, the only real troubled spot is US 1, Capitol Boulevard, coming in from Wake Forest. Over in Durham, the real no delays to really talk about. 8 minutes here or there. That's not going to make you late this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. We are 17 days and some hours away from the start of a new school year. Every year, parents are hit with longer and more expensive school supply lists, but there's no need to hunt down the very best prices because 5 on your side's Keithy Arthur already did for you.
I have heard from so many parents who say their child's school supply lists have only gotten longer and more expensive. And while we can't control things like tariffs or inflation, which we know affects prices, you can control at least one thing: where you shop. So that's why 5 on Your Side went to 6 stores and bought 6 items: Crayola crayons and pencils, a 5-star 1-subject notebook, Elmer's glue sticks, and the cheapest backpack and folders available. The least expensive store, Dollar Tree, total cost $11. But keep in mind, most of the products were off-brand. Target was the next cheapest bill, Walmart just 3 cents more. Five Below came in at $18. Staples came out to be about $27.51. Amazon was trickier. Many of the items we wanted to purchase weren't available. For example, the cheapest folders came in a pack of 7. The total there, $34.88. So if you're looking to buy in bulk, that may be a good option. Just know the basics, like a 24-pack of Crayola crayons there, are much less expensive at other stores that we went to. Now get this, more than 2/3 of families say they've already started their back-to-school supplies shopping. Coming up tonight at 6, I'm going to tell you just how much families are expected to spend this year and why it's less than last year. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
United Airlines flights are in the air once again after a ground stop at major airports across the country. Hundreds of United flights were held up last night at hubs including San Francisco, LA, and Houston. And United says a technology issue was to blame, but it's still unclear exactly what the issue was and what even caused it. And new this morning, the family of a North Carolina girl who was secretly photographed while in an airplane bathroom is suing American Airlines. Flight attendant Estes Thompson Thomas pleaded guilty to hiding a camera in the bathroom and taking pictures of passengers. Well, that includes the 11-year-old girl who was flying home to Charlotte in 2023. Paul Llewellyn represents the girl and her family, and he says Americans should be held responsible for this.
It's just sickening. The most vulnerable position, like there's enough to worry about as a parent. It's the last thing you think when your child uses an airplane bathroom. And this happened on their watch. Child abuse happened on their watch.
According to the lawsuit, the FBI found Thompson's iCloud account contained at least 4 instances of recordings of minors using the bathroom on board. Well, Chappell Roan fans might have to wait at least half a decade for a new album, and some of the most legendary movie props will soon go up for auction. Let's take a look at what's trending this morning. Chappell Roan isn't rushing to release another album because in an interview with Vogue, she said a second project does not exist. She says it looks like it's going to take her 5 years to make the first album, and that's going to be kind of the case for this next one there. I know some people want her music, but I mean, they're creative. Like, let her take her time. Can't make magic overnight like that, right? Some popular movie props are going up for auction. The UK-based prop store displayed 6 well-known items in London ahead of the September auction that will happen in LA. Some of the props include Darth Vader's lightsaber, Indiana Jones' whip, and a clapperboard from Jaws. Celebrities are coming together to stand up to cancer. And Epic Games has a new season of Fortnite. David Daniel has today's Hollywood Minute.
Hey there, this is Dolly, coming to you straight from Nashville.
Stand Up to Cancer is headed to Music City. Reese Witherspoon and Tim McGraw are among the celebs taking part in this year's fundraiser, hosted by Sheryl Crow. The special airs Friday, August 15th on more than 30 broadcast, cable, and streaming platforms.
He said, I have to tell you something about me. I'm not going to last that long.
It's never over. Jeff Buckley looks at the rising music star who released his critically acclaimed debut album, Grace, then drowned at the age of 30. The documentary, featuring never-before-seen footage from Buckley's archives and interviews with those who knew him best, opens in theaters Friday.
We thought it was the end of times. Turns out, it's morphin' time.
The mighty Morphin Power Rangers have arrived in Fortnite, and they're not alone. The new season of the wildly popular Battle Royale, titled Shock and Awesome, includes the colorful heroes fighting alongside Spartan soldiers from the Halo universe. Fortnite's new season is underway today. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Look, the 90s kid in me, go Power Rangers. That's pretty cool. All right, more seriously though, today is a WRAL weather alert day. We saw the flooding yesterday, Elizabeth, and then we also have the increased rain, which could lead to even more flooding.
One of the reasons that we have a WRAL weather alert day is it's just very messy out there. We continue to have rain developing in the same place over and over for the last 6 or more hours. So we could have some possible flooding because we had so much rainfall yesterday. The pockets where we saw flooding yesterday, if we continue to see some of these heavier rainfall totals, we could see some more flooding. We could see that anywhere in central North Carolina all the way through the evening. We take a look at what's happening right now, and when you just glance at Dual Doppler 5000 radar, it definitely looks patchy. It's not a solid band of rain that's sitting over us. So it's not necessarily the coverage, it's the duration. It just continues to redevelop in the same place over and over. There's an upper level low sitting just above us, and it's just not moving anywhere very quickly. So we have rain from Nash County and Wilson County all the way back towards Siler City and into the Triad area. So it just continues to redevelop in the same places. Places that we're watching very carefully are the ones that flooded yesterday. So Cary, Apex, Morrisville, and then over here around Spring Hope, west of Rocky Mount. Those were the places that saw some of the worst of it yesterday, as much as 5 or 6 to 8 inches in some places. So we do have a low risk for flooding. Yesterday, it was a medium risk. So we're not looking at a repeat of yesterday by any means, but we are starting to see some of the rainfall totals adding up. This is a look at what we've seen in the last 6 hours. In Durham, that's 1.5 inches. If we continue along that same rate for the next 6 hours, we could end up seeing some flooding there. North Raleigh and Cary at about 1/2 inch, Zebulon just 1/4 inch, but about 1 inch in Wake Forest. So it does, of course, vary, as we tend to see in these sorts of patterns. This is a look at yesterday. This is yesterday 24 hours ago. So we did see some heavier rainfall totals in terms of a whole storm total. But boy, definitely, that 7-inch total there west of Rocky Mount in Spring Hope really catches your eye, as well as some 4+ inch totals in parts of Wayne County and Sampson County. So definitely some places that we'll be watching closely. Around a 40% chance of rain for today. Again, we do have that level 1 risk, that low risk, 50% chance for today on and off, and then back to a 20% chance over the weekend. I put a yellow light for outdoor plans over the weekend just because we could be dealing with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Other than that, it really starts to look drier for us over the weekend and warmer with highs in the mid to upper 80s.
We do want to get you a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers, and of course, a check of traffic is coming up in just a bit.